attention and you're not in a state of awareness about these things, you don't notice when the cat walks by the door twice. But if you are paying attention, you know when the cat walks by the door twice that something has been changed, and you begin to look around. For example, you mentioned Al Bielek.
Right.
Well, not too long ago, the subject of Al Bielek and the Philadelphia experiment, and I have one of these days I'll talk about this, but there's a whole lot of stuff about this thing that is very mysterious. And I had a copy of an interview with Al Bielek from a magazine quite a number of years ago. And I had underlined and highlighted some things in this article, and I was going to use my notes and I wrote notes in the margin also. I was going to use this, and I was going to write something about it. Well, as it turned out, I went to my files, and I got the file folder out, and the Al Bielek article that was in the file folder was not the one that had been in there before.
Really?
It had no underlinings, it had no circles and arrows and notes in the margins. And in fact, it did not say the things that I remembered it saying.
Oh.
Well, that was upsetting enough, but then shortly thereafter, I went into the bathroom. It was like I was going to brush my teeth or something, and I reached for the toothpaste. The toothpaste was gone. And I searched all over the counter. I looked on the back of the toilet. I looked on the sink. I turned around and looked at the counter again. The toothpaste was not there. I started to walk over to the cabinet in the corner to get a new tube of toothpaste. I came back from the cabinet to the counter, and there was the original tube of toothpaste. Well, okay.
So, now what happened? They changed the program there somewhere?
Well, yeah, something was going on, and it had to do with this Al Bielek Philadelphia experiment article, because I had come to a realization about this whole Philadelphia experiment that had to do with Einstein. I realized something, and I knew that the son of bitches were changing the program. They were shifting it on me because they were taking the proof of my point away from me because it was in that article.
Well, that is totally mind-blowing, the fact that that is actually going on.
So, I go and I tell my husband the whole story. I said, this is what happened. And he started in on this, well, now, honey, are you sure that you didn't just not see it? Well, I am aware enough that when something like this happens, I know to check and make sure that it's not, me not seeing the toothpaste tube. That toothpaste tube was not there.
Yeah.
And I says, don't even go there. Don't even go there.
Well, Laura, we've only got about 5 minutes. You have written a book.
Yes.
And I want you just to tell our audience briefly about it. And you're going to be, when do you think you're going to get it published?
Well, that's another funny thing, because I had this book right around the end of August. I think it was on the 29th. I was just putting the finishing touches on the book, getting it ready to ship it out to the printer. And on this day, we had a lightning storm that was like 40 miles away. We didn't even hear the lightning. The lights flickered out, and when they came back on, my hard drive was fried. And I had lost a huge amount of work on the book. Fortunately, we did have an older backup copy that my husband had stored on his computer, so I didn't lose the entire thing. But still, going back, having to get over the upset of having lost all of this work that I had done, and I had been working like 10, 12 hours a day for 11 days. I lost over 100 hours of work. So I've been rebuilding it. That happened, and then, of course, immediately following that, we had this thing going on with the World Trade Tower thing. So, we felt like there was a major general shift in the reality at this point in time, because of the fact that this book really does expose the Matrix control system through historical research. I mean, I know Graham Hancock wrote a book called Fingerprints of the Gods. Well, I don't think that he had in mind when he was doing his book to take the position that the gods might be hyperdimensional, mind-marauding, time-traveling controllers of the Matrix. He was thinking, and most people when they do their research, they don't even take this approach because we have been so conditioned into the Good Shepherd imagery.
Yeah.
And nobody ever stops to ask, why do we have this image of this good shepherd? Why do we have this, why do we have this guy nailed to the cross as the supreme symbol of godhood in our reality? And what deep subconscious psychological meaning can that have, and what can it do to your psyche to ingest that with your breakfast from your infancy?
Yeah, that's a pretty awesome, I guess, image of divinity. Well, it's a profound mystery, I guess they would say, right?
Right, but the thing is the subconscious influence of this image and what it does to humanity and how it makes them accept the control system, because each and every one of us is nailed to the cross by this control system.
Oh, I heard one very reverend person once refer to Christianity as that cult of the dead man on a stick. Isn't that awful?
Well, I don't want to be, I was brought up in a very Christian household, and I was, when in my early adulthood, I was a member of a fundamentalist church. I was completely into the whole faith trip. And it was because of my sincere desire to know God that I was actually brought out of this, because my prayers, my meditations, I think it was the sincerity of my desire to know the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth that caused the universe itself to interact with me dynamically and to lead me step by step to some awareness of this. Well, it's one thing to have the idea of this matrix control system. It's another thing to find proof of it in hard research. And this is not a channeled book. This is a book of research. It's annotated, footnoted, bibliography, the whole 9 yards.
What's the title going to be?
The title is The Noah Syndrome, Raiders of the Ark versus the Guardians of the Grail.
Oh, boy, I can't wait to see that book, and really look forward to reading it and getting you back on again to talk about the book more when we can, when it comes out. And we're out of time. I hate to say it, but it's been a very, very intriguing interview, and we've only just barely scratched the surface here.
That's the truth.
And I sure appreciate you being on with us tonight.
Well, I thank you for inviting me.
Let's get out your website one more time here real quick before we have to sign off.
Okay, it's www.cassiopeia.org, and that's CASSIOPAEA.org. And it's a big website. Take your time and don't be scared, because even if we jerk your chain and kill all your sacred cows, it doesn't mean that we're not going to give you something back that's worth a lot more.
Certainly a lot there to think about. I certainly have found that to be true, and I haven't but scratched the surface of your website yet. Well, Laura, thanks again for being on, and we're going to let you go, and we'll look forward to getting you back on again, and so we can continue on more in depth where we're leading here in our interview tonight.
Thank you very much.
You've been listening to Night Search. We'll be on again next Wednesday and Thursday night for the Night Search radio show. But stay tuned to the network. We've got some more great shows coming up tomorrow. So good night, folks.